At my grandfather's funeral, my girlfriend whispered, "Can we leave? This is so boring, and I have brunch plans." I said, "You should go." She left. I stayed, gave a eulogy, and never called her again. When she texted 3 days later asking, "Are we good?" I sent her a single period and blocked her number. Her voicemails when she realized. I'm 29, male, software engineer. Met my girlfriend 2 years ago at a coffee shop when she accidentally grabbed my latte. We laughed, exchanged numbers, started dating. She was charming, funny, beautiful, the kind of woman who could light up a room. But there were small moments where something felt off, like when she'd send food back 3 times because it wasn't Instagram-worthy enough, or complain about visiting my parents because their house was too suburban and boring. I overlooked it, told myself everyone's flaws. My grandfather died on a Tuesday morning in November. He was 87, lived a full life, fought in Vietnam, built his own construction company from nothing. He taught me how to fish, change oil in a car, stand up for myself. When my dad called to tell me he'd passed in his sleep, I just sat there staring at the wall for 20 minutes. My girlfriend came over that evening. I told her what happened. She hugged me, said all the right things. "I'm so sorry, baby. Are you okay?" I wasn't, but I nodded anyway. The funeral was scheduled for Friday. I asked if she'd come with me. "Of course," she said, kissing my forehead. "I'll be right there with you." Those 3 days were a blur. I helped my mom pick out the casket, worked with my uncle on the eulogy, sorted through old photos. My girlfriend texted me supportive messages. Heart emojis. Thinking of you gifts. I thought maybe I'd been too harsh judging her. Friday morning arrived cold and gray. I picked her up at 8:30. The service was at 10 o'clock. She got in wearing a black dress, appropriate enough, but her makeup was more elaborate than usual. Full contour, false lashes, the works. "You look nice," I said quietly. "Thanks. I have brunch plans at noon with the girls, so I wanted to look decent." I gripped the steering wheel tighter. "Brunch plans?" "Yeah, we've had them scheduled for weeks. Madison's visiting from L.A., but don't worry, I'll totally make it to the service first." I didn't respond, just drove. We arrived at the funeral home. My family was gathered outside. My mom hugged me tight, eyes already red. My dad shook my hand and pulled me close. My younger sister was crying into her husband's shoulder. My girlfriend stood next to me, checking her phone. "Could you put that away?" I whispered, Sorry. Madison's asking what time I'll be there. Can you tell her you're at a funeral?" She sighed, typed something quickly, pocketed her phone. The service began. Father McKenna led us through prayers and readings. People stood up to share memories. My uncle told a story about my grandfather building a treehouse that nearly killed them both. My aunt talked about how he'd paid for her college. My cousin described how Grandpa taught him to throw a curveball. I sat in the front row, my girlfriend beside me, trying to hold myself together. Then I felt her lean close to my ear. "Can we leave? This is so boring, and I have brunch plans." I turned to look at her. Her face was completely serious. No hint of irony, no awareness of what she just said. "What?" I said, "Can we leave? I don't want to be late. Madison's only in town today." Something cold settled in my chest. I stared at this woman I've been dating for 2 years. This woman I've been considering proposing to, sitting at my grandfather's funeral calling it boring. "You should go," I said quietly. "Really? Oh, thank God. I didn't want to be rude, but no, you should go. Now." She blinked. "Are you mad?" I didn't answer, just turned back to face the front. She sat there for another minute, confused, then grabbed her purse and stood up. Several people turned to watch as she walked out, her heels clicking on the hardwood floor. My mom leaned over. "Is she okay?" "She had somewhere to be," I said. The service continued. When it came time for the eulogy, I stood up and walked the podium. My hands were shaking. I looked out at everyone who'd loved my grandfather. Family, friends, old business partners, veterans he'd served with, neighbors whose lives he'd touched. I spoke for 15 minutes. Talked about his integrity, his work ethic, his devotion to family, how he'd never miss one of my baseball games, even when he had to drive 2 hours, how he'd slip me $100 every birthday with a wink and a "don't tell your grandmother," how he'd call me every Sunday just to check in. When I finished, there wasn't a dry eye in the room. We buried him that afternoon. Cold wind, gray sky, the smell of fresh earth. I stood at the graveside and watched them lower the casket, thinking about the woman who'd left because she was bored. I drove home alone. My phone buzzed continuously. Text after text from her. "Hey, are you okay? You seemed upset when I left. The brunch was amazing, BTW. Madison says hi. Call me when you get this." I deleted every message without responding. 3 days passed. Tuesday afternoon, my phone lit up with a new message. "Are we good?" I stared at those 3 words for a long time. Then I typed a single period and hit send. 1 character. That's all she deserved. Then I blocked her number. Thursday morning, I woke up to 17 voicemails. She called from different numbers, friends' phones, maybe even burner apps. I listened to the first one while drinking coffee. "What the heck? You blocked me? Over what exactly? Because I had plans? You're being absolutely ridiculous. Call me back right now." Second one, angrier. "I've been nothing but supportive through this whole thing. And this is how you treat me? Do you know how many guys would kill to date me? You're throwing away 2 years because I left your grandfather's funeral early? Grow up." Third one, crying. "Baby, please. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to upset you. Please call me back. I love you." Fourth one, manipulative. "I talked to your mom. She's worried about you. She thinks you're not handling your grief well. Maybe you should see a therapist." I deleted them all. Friday afternoon, I got a call from my mom. "Honey, your girlfriend came by the house." I sat up straight. "What?" "She wanted to talk to me about you. Said you've been acting strange since the funeral. That she's worried about your mental health." "Mom." She called Grandpa's funeral boring and left to go to brunch. Silence. Then she told me she had a family emergency. She lied. Oh, sweetheart. I'm done with her, Mom. Completely done. I understand. I'll handle it if she comes back. She came back. Twice more that week. My mom didn't let her in. Then she started showing up at my apartment. I lived in a building with a buzzer system, so she couldn't get up, but she'd buzz repeatedly, sometimes for an hour straight. My neighbors started complaining. I called the building manager. He said he'd handle it. Next time she showed up, building security escorted her out and told her she wasn't welcome on the property. She started posting on social media. Cryptic stuff at first. When someone shows you who they really are, believe them. Sometimes the people you take a bullet for are the ones behind the trigger. Then she got bolder. Posted a photo of us from last Christmas with the caption, "This man ghosted me because I couldn't stay at his grandfather's funeral for 4 hours. He blocked me, turned his family against me, and won't even let me explain." She tagged me, tagged my friends, tagged my sister. My phone exploded. My sister called immediately. "What the actual heck is this?" I explained everything. The boring comment, the brunch plans, the complete lack of remorse. Jesus, I never liked her, but I didn't think she was that terrible. I'm commenting on this right now. My sister posted a comment visible to everyone. "Hey, maybe don't publicly blast someone whose grandfather just died because you couldn't be bothered to show basic human decency. Also, you left for brunch. Stop lying." Other people started piling on. Friends who'd been at the funeral confirmed the story. My cousin posted, "I watched you check your phone during the eulogy." Shut up. She deleted the post within an hour, but screenshots live forever. Then she sent a message to my work email. How she got it, I don't know. I know you think you're punishing me, but you're really just hurting yourself. We were good together. I made a mistake. Haven't you ever made a mistake? Call me. I forwarded it to HR with a note about potential harassment. HR acknowledged and added a note to my file. 2 weeks after the funeral, I was at a bar with some friends when she walked in. Not a coincidence. She'd been checking my location on Find My Friends, an app I'd forgotten to remove her from. She spotted me immediately, made a beeline for our table. "We need to talk," she announced. My friend Jake, who'd been at the funeral, stood up. "You need to leave." "I'm talking to my boyfriend." "Ex-boyfriend," I corrected. "And no, we don't need to talk. You owe me an explanation." "I owe you nothing." Her face turned red. "I drove 40 minutes to get here. The least you can do is give me 5 minutes." "No." She grabbed my arm. "You're being a child." I pulled away. "Don't touch me." "Or what? You'll block me again? You've already ruined my reputation." "You ruined your own reputation by acting like a selfish, entitled brat at a funeral." "A brat? I'm a brat because I have a life outside of you? Because I don't want to spend my entire day watching old people cry about someone who's going to die anyway?" He was 87. What did you expect? The bar went completely silent. Everyone turned to look at us. Jake stepped between us. "You need to leave. Now." Security approached. "Ma'am, you need to leave." She looked at them, at me, at my friends, then finally turned and walked out. Monday morning, I got a 6-page handwritten letter. Started with apologies. Shifted to justification about how funerals made her uncomfortable, then became manipulation, about throwing away something real. The last page was threats. "If you don't respond, I'll have to tell people the truth about what kind of person you really are, about the things you said to me in private. I have screenshots. I have evidence." I took photos of every page and sent them to my lawyer friend David. "Is this actionable?" David called 20 minutes later. "This is basically blackmail. Document everything. You might need a restraining order." I started documenting. Screenshots, saved voicemails, a letter, witness statements. She sent flowers to my office. I refused delivery. She tried to add me on a new Instagram account. I blocked it. She showed up at my parents' house again. My dad answered the door. "He doesn't want to talk to you. I just need 5 minutes." "No, you disrespected my father's memory. You disrespected my son. Leave before I call the police." She sat in her car outside for 2 hours. My dad called the cops anyway. That weekend, Madison messaged me. "Hey, I heard what happened at the funeral. I'm really sorry. I didn't know she was leaving early. She told me she'd already gone to the service. That's messed up. Thanks for reaching out. She's been telling people you were emotionally abusive, that you isolated her, controlled her money, monitored her phone. I wanted you to know I don't believe it." My blood went cold. "She's saying what?" "Yeah, she's posting in a private Facebook group about surviving toxic relationships. I screenshot some of it. Want me to send it?" The screenshots arrived 5 minutes later. Multiple posts describing a relationship that never existed, claiming I'd yelled at her for wearing certain clothes, that I demanded access to her phone, that I'd threatened her. All lies. I forwarded everything to David. "Restraining order?" I asked. "Restraining order," he confirmed. I filed the paperwork. Provided all my documentation, witness statements, everything. The judge granted a temporary order immediately. She was served the next day. 2 days later, she violated it, showed up at my gym, waited in the parking lot, approached me as I was leaving. "You got a restraining order? Against me?" I pulled out my phone, started recording. "You're violating a court order right now. Leave immediately or I'm calling the police." "You're really going to have me arrested?" "Yes." She stared at me in disbelief, then walked away. I called the police anyway. They picked her up an hour later. She spent the night in jail. Court date was the following week. She showed up with an expensive lawyer. My lawyer laid out the case methodically. The harassment, the stalking, the social media defamation, the violation. Her lawyer tried to paint her as a heartbroken woman who'd made mistakes. The judge wasn't buying it. "You called a funeral boring and left for brunch. Then you engaged in a pattern of harassment that included stalking, defamation, and violating a restraining order. This court sees no evidence of remorse, only entitlement. The restraining order is made permanent. 5 years. No contact whatsoever. If you violate again, you will face criminal charges." She was crying, but they were angry tears. "This is insane. I loved him. I made one mistake. You made multiple mistakes, the judge interrupted, and you compounded them by refusing to accept responsibility. This hearing is concluded. Outside the courthouse, her lawyer stopped me. My client would like to apologize. I don't care. She's willing to issue a public retraction. Too late. She could sue you for defamation based on things your family posted. I laughed. Everything they posted was true. There were 50 witnesses. Tell her to sue. I'd love to see that play out. He nodded slowly. I'll advise her against it. That was 3 months ago. Haven't heard from her since. The restraining order did its job. 2 mutual friends apologized, said they believed her version initially until other people confirmed what really happened. Her reputation in our social circle evaporated. She lost friends, lost credibility, had to delete all her social media because people kept calling her out. Madison told me she tried dating someone new, but when he Googled her name, he found screenshots and ghosted her immediately. My mom asked me once if I thought I'd overreacted. No, I said, I reacted exactly right. She was nice when it was convenient. When it required actual character, she showed who she really was. My mom hugged me. Your grandfather would be proud of how you handled this. I'm dating someone new now. Met her at my cousin's wedding 2 months ago. She's kind, thoughtful, asked about my family, actually listens. When I told her about my grandfather, she asked to see photos. We spent an hour going through old pictures while I told stories. That's the difference. That's what it's supposed to look like. My grandfather taught me a lot. How to fish, how to change oil, how to stand up for myself. But the most important lesson came after he died. Sometimes the trash takes itself out. You just have to let it go.